Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to give some basic information for yourself to have a very good spiritual foundation. So when it comes to our spiritual foundation, it is very important to have the clarity within the path that you work. If you come to the path because of the fear, with the doubt, with the unsatisfaction, and with the discomfort, so your journey not going to become that much pleasant. And when the journey not become pleasant, what happens? The very experience moment by moment, you're going to lose. So in the spiritual path, it is not the destination. It is the moment by moment practice. The moment by moment experience make you more nourished. So then you have to be more comfortable with the baby steps that you take, rather than focusing to the end result. And when it comes to that, in this very moment, the very condition of your body and mind, understanding that is very necessary. When we start meditation, when we go with the tranquility meditation, that means calming down our mind, bringing our mind to the one pointness, and settling down and developing collective awareness. And from that point, we go to the Vipassana meditation, or the insight meditation, or the analytical meditation. So in this both mental culture, that it is very necessary ourselves to understand the very behavior, the very nature of our own body and mind. Because the very purpose of insight meditation, recognizing that's what's happening within you, how this becoming happens. So we all look for the freedom and satisfaction, and we kind of like we feel like we are free. But we are kind of like prisoners, already free for a certain time period. It's a kind of like we all go through a very probation time period. That is where we bound to the duties. We are debtors to something. Duties come out of the debtors. There is something or somebody own something from you, and you have to fulfill that. And you may take it as a very comfortable way, telling, oh, I have so much duties. But the duties never take you to total freedom. The duties most of time take you to another duty. Debt take you to another debt. There is no way that you can recover. Why? Because mostly we become debtors out of our own emotional needs. That is where we bound to the society. If you look very carefully, you will see that's where that the renunciation bring the total freedom from the social boundaries. But we are not capable sometimes that much in this very conventional lifestyle. But you have to minimize and not to get into unnecessary situations or not to get into unnecessary duties. That is your responsibility. But mostly we like with the social engagement, social validation, social interference. We always like when something comes from outside. And also we like sometimes when we bound to outside world. So then look into yourself, what you gain out of that. You don't gain any kind of total freedom or satisfaction. It's a kind of like you always get disturbed. But the thing is, sometimes we like that disturb. We like when other people disturb us. We like when other people bring us kind of like duties. We appreciate it. Why? Because that we try to cover up our loneliness, doing something for others and bound to something or somebody. Because you don't cover that gap with your own inner tranquility state. And when it comes to kind of like that interval and events, we are not capable to handle the interval. So as example, inhalation, exhalation. So it is an event. In between that, there is an interval. But we more into inhalation, exhalation. We don't want to settle down with that interval. We can't wait. We can't settle down, and we can't just be. We always need something. And when the interval comes, what happens? We get into the imagination. And you filled your interval again with something. So because of that, we always like to interfere. But if you look for freedom, if you look for satisfaction, it's okay, you go with the event, but when the interval comes, take it, be with it, rest with it. Don't use that interval to make something else. And that gives kind of like a space for you to settle down. So when you are capable to expand that duration, and you recognize that resting is the art which you need to gain the mental clarity. And even with the mentally, that resting, most of the time we don't know how to do that, because we always clinging to thoughts. We always talk ourselves. We always into imagination, visualization. But when you are capable to recognize and settle down with the interval, you know how to rest with your mind. That is very necessary. And once you are capable to that, what happens? You start to recognize this mental quality, mental behavior. What is the mental behavior? That our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind is always stimulate that inside, that our own mechanism, which you call the sanskara or the mental formations. So when you see something, hear something, smell something, taste something, think something, what happens? It kind of like a touch. The eye and eye object come together. It's come like a touch. That touch stimulate that your inside memory. So when you interfere with that inside memory, what happened? The outside perception, that what you perceive, you can't recognize. So most of the time we live with the memory. We love our memory. We hate our memory. We contemplate our memory. We sleep with our memory. We wake up with our memory. We eat, we see, we smell, we dance, we sing. We meditate with our memory. And just closing your eyes doesn't mean you come to tranquility state. No, because sometimes we close our mind because it is so comfortable for us to be with our own memory. So don't stimulate that your inside memory. For that, you have to be aware when you see something in the beginning. In the beginning, try to see what you experience within you. The very behavior, the very condition of your mind, from where that comes. It's a skill, but it's little by little. If you take little baby steps, that by the time you can develop it, like everything else. So it seems like that the remote control. So this remote control, that you touch the button. So when you touch the button, there is something happen inside. But just imagine you watch TV, and now you focus to the TV screen, and you press the button. So this pressing the button, it's kind of like stimulating your inside memory. And that mechanism, we don't care. We always look into that outside, the TV screen. We want to watch something from there, and we keep pushing this. And just imagine, in case it doesn't work, that the TV screen change, it doesn't change. What happens sometimes? We hit it like this, like that. We know problem is with this, but still We always into that. So just imagine when you see something, and maybe it is not clear that what you see. So you have to remember, it's not clear because your inside mechanism not clear. That's why. So when you hear something, smell, taste, that your awareness, that inside mechanism means your awareness was not clear. So out of that, what happened? You make a mistake. But the thing is this, and this, that with our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, with the perception, we so addicted to press our inside mechanism. And we live with it. We want to see, we want to hear, we want to smell, taste, feel, and sometimes we want to think to stimulate that inside mechanism, inside memory. And we live with it. And at the same time, we don't know it already broke down. And then again and again, we keep pushing, hitting, brushing. So kind of like that, we do many things, but we don't see that awareness missing. That's why we have this struggle. So once you bring the awareness, once you have the awareness, another way we call it, put the attention, and then it's become clear. So it become clear. Another thing is, it's not going to stimulate, awake that inside memory, or the sanskara, or the mental formations. So when you are not depend on that, when you lead with the awareness, what happened? You are capable to experience the very moment of life with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And that moment by moment continuation, if you are capable to go with that flow, and you increase the duration, in that duration, you are capable to see more wider and understand this. All the experience come out of causation. And that causation means, for one thing, there are many reasons. There is no anything that you can experience. There is nothing that you can experience in the world independently itself. So once you understand that, once you see it within that your moment by moment experience, you recognize you are a part of that experience. That is where this dualistic mind disappears. But most of the time we think, oh, I see, I hear. That I always we separate from the hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling, because that is where we develop the self-centered mind. We always separate. But that is just an idea. Because that seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling itself, it's you. And that all the objects become part of you. It become an object because of your appearance, your hearing, your seeing. Make it as an object. Otherwise, it's not going to become an object. So as example, this become I object when my eye see it. If I am not here, we can't name this as an object. So then, but still when I see this, I always separate myself from this, and I think this is a different entity. It separately exists somewhere. But, and when it comes to that, we are not capable to see the very connection. Another thing is, if you go deeper, this my eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, that's all the organs, and related to heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind capable to grab all the things only related to heat, motion, and liquidity and hardness. If there is something exists beyond the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, you can't understand it. So then what does that mean? So that my eye related to the base with the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, if I can see something as an eye object, it should be very limited to heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. If there is any other elements exist, I can't connect with it. The sound the same, the smell the same, taste the same, the feelings the same, and the mind the same. So that is where that what you experience as world itself, that your appearance itself make it as your world. So that is where it's kind of like it come to the concept called the universe is you. And when you come to that, you feel so comfortable. Then you don't have the fear, because that's all you. And in the ancient time, what happened? It's all you, and you hold it to you, and then you develop the belonging. Oh, it is me, it is me. And it developed the self-centered mind. But if you look into that and recognize that even now you recognize that the entire universe is you, that's good. Okay? So then you feel so comfortable and you feel so friendly. No fear, no day and night, up and down, all the ugly things and beautiful things, that everything you. And then you observe the very nature of you. And when you observe that, you recognize impermanent, it's moment by moment change, and unsatisfactory nature. There's no moment to settle down within you. And it is selfless, that you appear as a result of causation. So once you have that, what happens? If the universe is you, now you are capable to understand the very behavior and the nature of the universe: selflessness, unsatisfactory nature, impermanent. So that clarity develop in you little by little, when you are capable to observe and analyze. So most of time that what happens, that we observe and we analyze and we think or we reflect, we do one by one. You know, as example, sometimes if you work at office, maybe you take some files to your home. And when you go home, you neglect the home and you work your office work. And sometimes when you read something and you think, okay, let me think about it. Because, and then that whatever you do in that very moment, you take to very different level. But the analytical meditation is, you use that all the skill at once together. That is where it becomes so powerful, and that is where there is no way that ignorance can exist when you use that analytical awareness. There is nothing can hide in that, whatever the mental object that you have. You're going to get all the details. You're going to get into the bottom. But if you do part by part, but sometimes maybe you miss something. No. So even in the tranquility state, you maintain, but when it comes to the Vipassana meditation, that analytical meditation, you use your all the mental qualities together. And that is where you bring the total clarity to yourself. So today, we observe our inhalation, exhalation in front of our nose and upper lip area. So sometimes you don't get it very clearly. So then what you need to do, time to time, we remind ourselves. So you look into your posture, and you always look into yourself like an outsider, detached from you, and see how your posture. And if you can't feel that properly, your own inhalation, exhalation, forget about all other things. First, try to settle down and find the right posture. So for that, you can move your upper body a little bit back and forth, and maybe your head a little bit up and down. Do a little experiment. Take a time. Don't be hurried. It's okay to you go with the baby steps. We all go with that. We all need that time to time. So once you get into the right place, and naturally you feel your inhalation, exhalation. So in the beginning, you recognize inhalation as inhalation, exhalation as exhalation. And be very clear with that. Don't try to bring more other details to that, only inhalation, exhalation. So in that very moment, be very careful not to bring your imagination. Don't interfere with the natural process of inhalation, exhalation. Just allow it to happen. And when it happens, just recognize. So like when you see sunrise, sunset, you can't interfere with it. You just observe, you just watch. So like that, when the inhalation, exhalation happen, learn to watch. And during that time, if there is an interval, take it. Be with it. Appreciate that. Don't try to bring anything mentally and fill that interval. No, keep it. And if the inhalation happened, you recognize it. If you don't feel that, be vigorously, thoroughly, deeply, try to observe again and again, because sometimes when the mind go to where is laziness and mind fall into sleepiness, so that way, that very subtle, this inhalation, exhalation, maybe you're not going to get in the beginning. So just watch it deeply, and then you get it. Even if you can't find it, maybe then you already go, you are anymore not in this world. Then be happy wherever you are. Otherwise you should feel that, so be with it. And once you get the inhalation, exhalation properly, so today we're going to see the very behavior of the four elements: heat, motion, liquidity, the watery feelings, and hardness. So when the inhalation happens or exhalation happens, just see, is there any heat that you can feel? It's a more the mental information that you trying to get. Don't try to take it physically. Don't try to get it physically. In the beginning, we explain it's as a physical words, but that is the way that your mind get with the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. It's a mental language. So otherwise, that the physically you can't get that heat. Physically, you can't get the heat. It's a mentally try to understand. When the inhalation, exhalation happens, little by little, you will see some inhalation, exhalation feel warm or cold. And sometimes, like for some people, on right nostril feel more warmer, left feel more neutral, and some left feel more warmer, right feel more neutral. So like that, there is a difference always there. So look into that, try to grab it, understand it. And the flow, the motion, and inhalation, exhalation, it's always like the air, it's always flow. So recognize that nature, the behavior, the character of the motion and liquidity. And sometimes in the inside nostril, if you look very carefully, when the inhalation happens, it feels kind of like a more soft, and it brings kind of like a more watery feelings inside you. And hardness. With the feel, the touch, the sensation, and some inhalation, exhalation become heavy, or some become very soft. So how you get that heaviness or the softness? By looking at, you can't get it. It's a mental quality. It is a mental skill. So your mind has this four way of understanding with the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So try to observe that. And somehow you will get one at least. When the inhalation happen, when the exhalation happen, out of this four, somehow you should get one. Otherwise, you can't get it as inhalation or exhalation. So one of this is become a stronger. That's why your mind can catch it as inhalation or exhalation. So once you have it, you go one by one, one by one. When the awareness become more sharper and clear, what will happen? Maybe you are capable to see two qualities out of the four: heat and the motion, inhalation, exhalation, and at the same time you feel heat. So now your mind become a little bit more clear. And out of four, by the time you are capable to get the three qualities. And out of the inhalation, exhalation, by the time you are capable to get all the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, these four qualities within one inhalation and one exhalation. When you are capable to see that all the four qualities, heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, the name of the inhalation, the form of inhalation, the name of exhalation disappear. Your mind get out of the name. Your mind get out of the form. Because it's go to the very essence of the inhalation and exhalation. So anymore, it doesn't go with the name or form. That is where you gain the total freedom. And anymore, you're not bound to this material world. So the material world, you will bound to the samsara means our mind not capable to get into the very essence of the ultimacy, that the very fundamental qualities of the material. That is where, that's why in my mind, I am not capable to get that. That's why I use names and forms to understand this. And then I get it as a remote control and the shape, the color, this everything. But if I capable to see the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness within this, it is there. That's why I can see, as I mentioned in the beginning. Otherwise, for your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, there's no object can appear if it is go beyond the heat, motion, and liquidity and hardness. Your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind depend on heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. All the object related to heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness can reach to you. Otherwise, there is no way. So this appear as an object because of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. But myself, that I don't see it like that way. I take it as a kind of like object, as a remote control. So that is where I take the names and forms to introduce this. But if you are capable to go deeper into see the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness that exist within this, the very format of, and anymore, the name of the remote control or this shape or this form disappear from my mind. So that is where anymore I'm not bound to this. So like that, if you just imagine your eye, and with your eye object, your ear object, nose object, tongue object, body object, mind object. Your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind depend on heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness became, that's why it appear like this. And then all the objects appeared because of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And when you are capable to see through the eye object, when you are capable to see the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, anymore your mind don't take that the whatever appear as an eye object, then from your eye consciousness, it disappear the names and forms. And then ear, that all the ear consciousness that you gain the name or the form out of the ear object, once you're capable to recognize the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, then ear consciousness, from there, that all the names and forms disappear. And the nose, your nose depend on the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, a nose object. And then when it comes to nose consciousness, if you are capable to get the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, the nose consciousness will release that, the names or the forms. And the tongue, so the tongue consciousness, if capable to release the tongue object from the name and form, just tuning to the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, then your tongue consciousness become free from that. And the body consciousness released from the body object, from name and form, and it just tuned to the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And the mind, all the thought appear with the names and forms, and it is still carry the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So if you are capable to see that, what happened in your mind, that the mind object, the name and the forms disappear. So then what you're going to experience? If your eye release from the names and forms, if the ear release from the names and forms, if the tongue consciousness, nose consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness release from the names and forms, what you experience? That is what called total freedom. So it comes as a result of upliftment of your awareness. Even you see things, hear things, smell things, taste things. The very problem within us, our mind tapping to the memory that we carry with the names and forms, and we repeat that, and that all this experience mean it's just the mental game. We stimulate our own memory, we deal with, we live with our own memory. So your memory depends on names and forms. But if you are capable to see the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness anymore, do not hold it to names and forms. So let's get into practice a little bit now. And your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Sopatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing your inhalation and exhalation and related to the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. Just try to see that. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. When it happens, recognize the heat or the motion or the liquidity or the hardness. Do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside, to your left side, and to your right side. Downward, and upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ettavata ca me sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi dhammang pujemi sanghang pujemi Addhaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjissami Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahannotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.